Hello, my name is Henrik Jönsson. I'm an independent political commentator and entrepreneur from Sweden. Today I want to explain why the EU currently is precariously close to destroying the internet as we know it, and what our final chance of stopping this from happening is. Let me emphasize, this is not a joke, a drill, or some kind of misguided alarmism. The EU is facing a full-blown information war. The EU is about to regulate the internet into oblivion. If you're Swedish speaking, you can find a link to the Swedish version of this video here above. I implore you to share it in your local community. There are only two reasons that I can keep making these videos. One is that the EU has still not criminalized this channel, and two, your voluntary support using the payment options here on my left. Without your continued generosity, none of this would be possible, so thank you very much for your support. Today, I'll be talking about the European Copyright Directive, the future of the internet, and what we all now have to do to stop the madness. Stay tuned. The European Copyright Directive has been in existence since 2001, but has been modified over the years to reflect technological development. In September 2016, the EU Commission suggested further modernization of the directive to address copyright issues concerning the digital markets. This was the starting point for the development of the new directive, which is still in proposal form. On February 13th this year, the final form of the proposal was decided, with several add-ons that further strengthened its already draconian ambitions. The criticism of the EUCD primarily concerns Article 11 and Article 13. Article 11 has colloquially become known as the link tax and states that any links or renditions of news stories in excess of single words will henceforth be subjected to taxation. This means that even normal hyperlinks, which often contain the headline of a news story, will be subjected to a fee on whoever who chooses to share them publicly, even an individual citizen without any commercial motive. Article 13, sometimes called the meme ban, will make any platform operator like Facebook, Instagram and YouTube responsible for any copyright violations its users might use it for. Effectively, this will require the installation of upload filters that will screen and block any content in risk of violating copyright laws. Filters, however, are crude algorithms and will most likely block out much legitimate material in order to stay on the safe side of the new rules. Article 13 has been much derided for making so-called memes illegal. This has now been superficially remedied by making a legal exception for satire. Effectively, though, this means nothing, as no filter in the world is capable of understanding what satire is. On the contrary, a content filter of this nature is likely to prevent you from posting your holiday photos on Instagram if somebody in the picture happened to be wearing a shirt with a Mickey Mouse logotype on it. Or if a section of Despacito was playing in the background of a video you took in a Greek bar 2 summers ago. The new rules further make it nigh on impossible for new platform operators to compete and gain traction on the EU marketplace. The only exception the directive grants a startup platform is if they're less than 3 years old, have a turnover less than 10 million euros and less than 5 million unique visitors per month. A new social media platform is thus granted a 3-year window before being held to the same standard as Google and Facebook. The consequence of Article 11 is that only large-scale online media companies will be able to afford brokering deals with the established media and publishing houses. The content of independent producers will not be covered by these deals and will thus not be made linkable for fear of unmanageable copyright administration. Further, smaller platform owners will not be able to publish this information either, because of the link tags and the copyright filter requirements, which makes it unaffordable. If you run a blog, it's most likely hosted on somebody's platform, and it will be forced to have a content filter. If you're a small or independent publisher, the risk is high that Facebook will choose to block your link as it is an unlicensed piece of content not worth dealing with. Do you like Pinterest? Forget about uploading mood boards for interior decoration or clothing featuring pictures of copyrighted designs in them. Pinterest will need a content filter in order not to violate the new rules. Instagram, forget it, filter. Snapchat, forget it, filter. Reddit, filter. Tumblr, filter.
Fuck you, pay me.
The majority of the content currently residing on European servers on, for instance, YouTube, including this channel, will be criminalized overnight as its existence is based on the silent acceptance of fair use. This means that the remixing nature of net culture has been viewed as a valuable and creative complement to traditional content production.
Das war ein Befehl! I wanna leave the common market.
The German Christian Democrat Alex Voss has been responsible for the European Parliament's processing of the new copyright directive and is placing the blame on the platform owners, claiming them to have profited unduly on business models based on massive copyright infringements. His view is that it is up to themselves to get themselves out of the mess. It's obvious that Voss, in spite of his evil mastermind-sounding name, himself does not quite understand how the internet works, as he is unduly accusing critics of Article 11 and Article 13 for malign disinformation. Let me firmly establish the fact that I'm a staunch supporter of paying content creators, and that this requires a suitable legal framework. I take no issue with that. However, the era of digital communication is characterized by co-creation, sharing, and remixing of content in a manner that makes traditional industrial-style monetization models obsolete. This is a natural process. Old formats and methods go under to become the fertile soil from which new, innovative solutions can grow. The flamboyant Austrian economist Joseph Schumpeter called this process creative destruction. Creative destruction is an economical description of the dance of Shiva, the Nataraja, the samsaric cycle of death, renewal, and rebirth that characterizes all living things and their development, viability, and progress. It is absurd to attempt to put a spoke in the wheel of the Dharma in order to freeze time as to protect an obsolete business model. This didn't work for the technology-averse Luddites, who in 1768 tried to halt the progress of technology by destroying the automated weaving machine, the spinning jenny. And it will not work now either. It is the responsibility of the constitutional state to ensure a lush and plentiful soil from which a thriving ecosystem of new organizations can spring, not to preserve bloated structures of privilege and outdated business models. The EUCD recasts who is responsible on the internet by putting an undue burden on the platform owners, which in the long run will give the end users a narrower range of choices, with a few large companies dominating the internet forever. If you think this proposal won't make any difference, think again. Have you noted how the EU is nagging you about cookies to an extent that would make the cookie monster green with envy?
Come on, come on! Go away!
Have you noted how every other website you visit will clog your mobile screen with GDPR data protection acceptance dialogues before you're finally served a boring ad from the automotive industry followed by a paywall? And something stinks at the base of that paywall. Most of the traditional media and publishing houses have invested a lot of capital into lobbying for Article 11 because of dwindling viewer and readership. The new law will not only eliminate competition from independent grassroots media, but also provide them with a lucrative revenue stream each time the large publishers allow one of their text or videos to be posted on social media. This is obviously good news for the media companies, but it is bad news for democracy, and it is bad news for the future of the internet. The issue has also been predictably underreported. The extremely complicated negotiation processes are most often held behind closed doors, most recently during the so-called trilogue meetings, in which the proposals were made even worse. It is almost impossible to even Google for dates and the results of a vote. The process is clandestine, unreachable, and incomprehensible even to those of us with an active interest in current affairs and politics. I often lecture large audiences on digitalization and digital communication, and I have on many instances brought up the EUCD before panels of high-ranking media executives. In a group of 60, there is usually no more than 1 or 2 who've even heard about the EUCD. Even fewer know what it is and how it's going to impact their line of work. There is good reason for the EU to be self-critical in this regard, as its representatives often complain about the lack of democratic engagement by the local population of the membership countries. Who is to blame them when the EU is so utterly unable to communicate what decisions are being discussed, when they discuss them, and what the outcome of a vote even was? It's obvious that the EU needs more internet, not less, and a freer, more politically critical internet at that, not a homogenized and centrally regulated Euronet, which is the inevitable consequence if the new directive was to be passed by Parliament. There is still time. The proposal still needs to be formally approved by both the membership countries and the Council of Ministries, as well as the whole Parliament. Particularly in the latter, we can expect a heated debate during the final vote, which is to be held in March or April. In line with how the EU likes to operate, the final date for the vote has yet to be announced, but I'm sure they will circulate a PM about this in written form on Braille on the surface of balloons released across Europe as a EUCD-compliant means of mass communication in the 21st century. Joking aside, there is still a chance to beat the EUCD. The last time Parliament was involved in these proceedings was when the proposal was due to be sent to the trilogue meetings to be formalized as proposed legislation. The yes-sayers won that vote by 438 votes against 226, but the tides have since changed due to the increasing unpopularity of Article 11. Our chance to save the European internet is by forcing each of our local EU representatives to declare their stand on the issue of the EUCD. The issue must be raised so that the media will deal with it now, not after the Parliament has voted. I've been in contact with all the Swedish delegates, and all of them, except for the communists, have responded that they will vote no to the proposed changes to the European Copyright Directive. Take the challenge. Make the local EU representatives of your country declare how they will vote now. They are meant to represent you. You deserve to know. Raise the issue, raise hell, share this video, spread the word, and make it difficult for them to destroy the internet. Personally, I'm in favor of the European Peace Project. I appreciate the common market. I value the cultural, social, and financial benefits of freely flowing labor and products. This has all contributed to making Europe stronger, more innovative, and forward-looking. But the internet is more important than the EU. The internet might be the most valuable thing mankind has ever created. A global, non-centralized, and largely still unregulated platform of democratic communication. If the EU wants to destroy the internet, then it is better if we destroy the EU. My view is, influence your local EU representatives and make them commit to voting down the EUCD. If this is not possible, then it is better to leave the European Union. Do you agree that the internet is more important than the EU? Please share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Do you have more information that could help us stop the EUCD from passing Parliament? Please write a comment down below. I appreciate all respectful communication. My name is Henrik Jönsson, and I believe the internet to be more valuable than the business models of the media houses. Thank you very much for watching this video.